Hey kids, what's going on? Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast Confessions of a Nerdy Bible College Student. As always, I'm your host, Luc Reed, and alongside me I have no one. Still. I'm working on it. It's my goal for this next week to find someone else to talk on this show, whether it's someone in person or someone through Skype or something. I'm going to get someone onto this show. One of my friends or somebody. Somebody will be on the show next week. So fear not, all of my nerdites. I will find a guest to find the show before the end of the summer. I'm going to try for this week, but no promises for next week. I will do my best. So I'll figure something out. Just a fair warning right here at the beginning of today's show. I don't really have anything planned. There wasn't really anything going on that was very specific or anything, so I figured, I wanted to have a show. I wanted to make sure that there was still a show for today, but I don't have a specific topic. So I just figured I could just kind of talk about some of the stuff that's going on with me the last few weeks. There's been a lot of stuff going on, and I just want to say that if people want to send stuff in through the social medias, then we can maybe have a conversation. So you can respond to what I'm talking about, and we can have a conversation basically. So basically I'm just gonna kind of do, usually in the show I go on to talk about what I've been nerding out about for the past week, which is basically what I'm just gonna do for the whole show. Especially because there are a lot of things that have been happening. Some things I haven't really talked about on the show, but I've been meaning to bring up. There's one thing in particular that I was planning to bring up last week, and I just got totally sidetracked because of E3. So I just totally dropped the ball and didn't even think about saying anything about it, but I'll bring that up later. So I'm just going to start right off with E3 because I recorded last week's show just before the Sony press conference, and the Nintendo press conference was on Tuesday after the show. So yeah, E3 was crazy. Again, that was basically what I was talking about last week. Like, during the entire show, I was just talking about E3. And I don't want to do that this week, just because I did that last week, but there are some things that were huge. Huge. So huge. Oh, my word. The Sony press conference blew me away. They showed off so many cool things. I was ecstatic all night. I could barely sleep. I was just so excited and so happy, and I could not believe it. So many cool things. They showed off some things that I predicted. They showed off God of War, which I was figuring they would. I was glad that they did. They went a little bit deeper and didn't exactly explain, but they expanded on what we got last year. So they kind of took what we already knew and expanded on it, which is good. We didn't totally get everything. They gave us enough to speculate, basically. What I think happened, because I was listening to the post show and they were I think they were saying something about how it sounded like Kratos met up with like a Norse goddess or something like that, and he was a Greek god, she's a Norse god, but they got together, and so that's where his son comes from in this one, maybe, I don't know. But it looks really interesting, it looks really good. I want to get it, just because it looks really interesting, and I only played the first and second games, so I'm thinking I should maybe play the third game. I'm kind of hesitant just because I know that there was probably some bad stuff in there, so I'm hesitant, but I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it up sometime. We'll see. Speaking of which, I'll get to that later. So, Sony's press conference, the God of War was awesome. Days Gone looks really good. They showed us a lot more of that, and it looked really good. The way that you can use like the zombie clicker thing, whatever they are, you can use them like for traps and stuff, was what they showed, and that was actually really interesting. They were talking about that in the post show, how cool that was, and I agreed 100%. It was really, really cool. And then they had the bear, so that game looks kind of interesting. I don't know if it's going to be one of those ones. I mean, I'm a guy that doesn't really buy games right when they come out. Usually I'll wait until they're on sale for like less than $20 or something before I get them, which again I'll get back to later. So I don't usually buy games early when they come out. I think I might end up making an exception of that rule for Battlefront 2, and the reason is because that's what I did for the first Battlefront, and I don't regret it at all. It was a great choice, so I think I might pre-order Battlefront 2 and get that because it looks so good. Like, it looks so good. I actually have an app on my phone, and a lot of the games that they showed off at E3 have been popping up on there. Basically, it's called PS Deals, and one of the things that PlayStation isn't really good for is, the way the system is right now. They don't really let you know very... I don't know how to say this. They don't make it well known when they have deals going on, like with Steam. You can't really make a wish list on PlayStation, and PlayStation lets you know when those games on your wish list are on sale, like with Steam. So there's this app called PS Deals, and basically you just go through and add games that you want to watch and get notified when they become cheaper, and you can then go from there and get them while they're cheap, while they're on sale. So, and I have actually taken advantage of that quite a few times. There's, I'll get to that. So, the last thing that really, really, really got me going Monday night was Spider-Man, of course. I knew they were going to show Spider-Man off, and I was not disappointed at all. I am so jazzed about that game. I cannot wait. I'm probably going to pre-order that one too, just because I'm so excited for it, and I know it's going to be good. I won't regret it, because even if it is bad, I'll have pre-ordered it, and I'll have gotten it, and I'll have the Spider-Man game. Like, I don't care. Honestly, I don't care, because it's going to be good for me. A lot of the games that people say are bad, I play through them, and I'm like, what are people talking about? That wasn't too bad. That was actually pretty good. I do the same. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I guess just the way I judge certain things can be kind of weird like that sometimes. But, then there are some games that people... I mean, not always. Like, I played Shadow of the Colossus, which is another thing that they're doing, releasing Shadow of the Colossus. That kind of annoys me just because I would rather have something new. I get it, they just came out with The Last Guardian and that was new, but I just played through The Last Guardian, or not The Last Guardian, Shadow of the Colossus. I just played through that, and I don't know, just something about it. It is a really good game, and I agree with everyone who says it's a good game. It's such a good game, but it's not very rewarding, I don't think. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't played it, but just something about the way it finishes just does not feel rewarding enough to warrant playing it over and over. That's my opinion. I don't diss anyone who's going to go and buy it, power to you. It's a great game, and especially if you didn't get the chance to play it when it was on PlayStation 2 or when they did the remastered Eco and Shadow of the Colossus HD for PlayStation 3. If you were one of those younger kids who didn't really get a chance, and now you're kind of older, you're a teen, whatever, and you have the chance now to play it, I would definitely suggest it, because it was so good. It was so good, but it's not worth buying again, in my opinion. So I won't be buying it again and playing it again. Maybe 20 years down the road or something, but not right now. I've got way too many other games to play to warrant playing that again, so games on my list, my personal list of games that I want to play, so, including Spider-Man and everything, and so yeah, my taste can be kind of weird sometimes. It can be, I can think that some games that people said are bad as good. I can think of some of the games that people say are good as good. And then, there's the games that I consider to be bad. There are certain games that just aren't very good. I know that, there are some games, people say are bad, and I totally agree with them but, I try to see the good at least. I try to, focus on the good at least. I haven't tried No Man's Sky yet, but I want to, just because, again, it was, people said that they didn't like it and everything, and it was given a lot of bad reviews and everything, and I understand why, because it did not deliver in the way that it was believed that it was going to. So I can understand why it wasn't good, but I still want to take a crack at it personally. I still want to try it, play it, and see, how it goes and everything. Even though I'm more of a story-driven gamer, I still like the more discoverable type games. I wouldn't say that I am all about linear games. I do like it when there's a little bit more of an open world to it. But I mean, I mostly play those more linear games, those more story-driven games. I don't know. We'll see. So, speaking of games, I'm just gonna go right into that. I didn't have that in my notes, but, so I've been playing some games. Let's see, I finished Assassin's Creed Unity, and I also finished almost everything I wanted to finish in Unity and Black Flag. So I beat the legendary ships in Black Flag, but I still want to play the Freedom Cry DLC. And as far as Unity, there's they made this really weird system for Unity. Like, that's another example of a game that not a lot of people liked that I actually do kind of like. Like, I thought it was a pretty decent game. I finished most of it. It's just this weird system that they came up with there. Basically what they did was you had to play on the companion app for the smartphone in order to get all the items and get 100% synchronization. So I already have 100% of the trophies. I have the Platinum Trophy. I played the King's Grave DLC. Whatever. Dead Kings. I can't remember what it was called. Something like that. So I played through that DLC, and I got 100% on that DLC. So I have basically everything. It's just these certain items that you can only get if you finish everything in the companion app. Then you can get those items in the game, and then you can have 100% synchronization. I don't know, it's just something I wanted to try for. But it's so dumb. Like, it was a good game, and they did some dumb things with it. I will totally agree with that. There were a lot of things that they could have made better, but I mean, I platinumed it, so that's another platinum for my list. I only have like 6, I think. So my list of trophies is not that impressive, but and that's. I mean, I don't have a single platinum on any of the Uncharted games. I don't know. So if you look at my games, then you will see that I haven't played. It will basically say that I haven't played, I think it was the first and second games, but I did play through those games. I think I mentioned last week or the week before or something how there was a thing where I lost a whole bunch of stuff, and so that was the result. So it says that I didn't play the first couple games, but I did play them, and I played 3, and I'm playing 4. That's actually what I'm playing right now, because so I have this bad habit of starting games and then just leaving them and not finishing them. So that was kind of what I was trying to do. I was trying to finish all the games that I hadn't finished. So I hadn't destroyed the legendary ships on Black Flag, so I went back and did that and got 100% synchronization. I'm probably not going to platinum it ever, just because you've got to do a whole bunch of multiplayer stuff for it, and I don't feel like getting to level 50 in multiplayer on it. I think that's one of the trophies that you have to get in order to platinum, is you've got to get to level 50 or something in multiplayer, and it's just that's outrageous. So I'm just gonna leave that alone and stick with my Unity Platinum. So yeah, I bought. They had a sale on Syndicate a while ago. I might have mentioned this before, so I did buy Syndicate, so I have that. And I just recently downloaded it to my PS4, so now I can actually play it. Here's an example of how bad it is. So I went the other night and I played the first 2 levels of Syndicate just because I wanted to try it. And now I'm going back and trying to finish all the other games that I haven't finished yet before moving on to it. So yeah, it's bad. And also, I had there was a sale. I got enough. So this is what I was talking about earlier that I was going to get back to. So I was on the PS Deals app, and I happened to notice after E3, the original Wolfenstein and the wasn't exactly DLC. It was I guess it was like a standalone game, but it was kind of, I think it was a prequel actually for the New Order. I think it was called the Old Blood. Yeah, because it was New Order, Old Blood, and then this sequel, Wolfenstein 2, is the new something or other. I can't remember. It's the... New Colossus. So yeah, anyway, Wolfenstein, the New Order, and Wolfenstein, the Old Blood were on sale. They had a massive sale on them. I'm guessing probably so that people would buy that so they could get it before getting Wolfenstein 2. And so I bought them. They were $10 each, so it was $20 together. So I figured, why not? It's a game that I really wanted to play, so I have that now too. So I'll finally get to play Wolfenstein, so I'm excited for that. But I'm not going to touch it because I've got other games to finish first, like Uncharted 4 still. So, but see, the problem with Uncharted 4 is, okay, so I never play crushing on an Uncharted game. I'll usually just play like the regular mode, like the normal mode. But when I started this Uncharted, I decided I was going to start on crushing for this game. And I was going to play the entire game through on crushing so that I could get the trophies for all of the difficulties, because that's how Uncharted games work. If you get the highest one, you get the trophies for all the ones below it. So I'll get to a spot in the game and I'll die over and over and over again. And so I'm just stuck. I keep getting stuck in these certain spots. So that is the reason why I haven't finished it yet. Apparently, I've been looking on the internet to try to help get through some of the harder spots, and everyone apparently is saying that this is the hardest crushing difficulty Uncharted ever. Like, none of the other ones even compare. So I really you can change the mode, but it makes it so you don't get the trophies. So I'm gonna try to finish it. There was one point where I was I changed it, but I was still dying. And then I was like, well, I'll just keep it on crushing or something. I can't remember exactly what happened, but there was one spot in the jungle I could not get through. I looked up everything. I tried everything, and I just kept dying over and over and over again. And then I finally got through it, and then I got stuck on another spot, and I kept dying over and over and over again. And then I got stuck in another spot, and I kept dying over and over and over again. But then today, I was playing kind of dumb, because so the spot that I was getting stuck at was in this spot where there's guys all over these wooden structures like houses, but they're flooded with water. So what I was doing was I was basically going up, and I would kill one guy, I'd headshot a guy, and then I would jump and dive underwater and make it so that they couldn't see me, couldn't find me type thing. And then I'd go up and I'd shoot another guy. Just do that over and over again. And then finally I got through the part. So I was playing it kind of cheap, but I got through it. So that's all that really matters. So I did that, and then I got stuck in another spot where you had to fight. And I died over and over and over and over again. And I was able to get through it. And now I'm kind of stuck in a spot. I've died a few times. So this game, I can't wait to be done with it. I should just not do that with games. Honestly, they're just not fun when you put them on the max difficulty. For me, I find that it's just not fun because I don't enjoy that kind of challenge. I enjoy a little bit of challenge, but then also getting the story. it just bugs me. So I'm not doing it again. Never doing that again. I'm just gonna, I've got Bloodborne to play. So, if I want to play a hard game, I'll just play Bloodborne, or, Dark Souls or something. I hate Dark Souls. I kind of hate Bloodborne too. So, yeah. But I'll get through it. Whatever. So yeah, that's how things have been going with games. Another one I started and haven't really played too much of is Final Fantasy 15, and I actually specifically need to play through that one first because it's not actually mine. I'm borrowing it from a friend. So I'm going to finish that one first. And then I'm probably going to play Horizon Zero Dawn because, again, that's another game I started and I haven't finished. But that one is mine. I bought it from that same friend that I'm borrowing Final Fantasy 15 from. So I'm going to finish Final Fantasy 15 first and then play Horizon Zero Dawn. And then I'll probably play Syndicate. And then I'll probably play Wolfenstein. Or I'll probably start Wolfenstein at some point and hate myself for starting it when I have so many other games to finish. So that's where I am as far as games go. And E3. So my next thing is, this past weekend for my internship, the other interns and I set up a garage sale. We had some help from some people from the church. There was this one lady who helped us kind of get the advertising and sorted and everything, because she had done a lot of garage selling in the past before, like personally. So she was a big help. And then we also had help from the lady whose house we were doing the garage sale at. It was funny, she originally said that she was just going to leave it in our hands, but then, she got involved. So, it was like, it was bound to happen just because, she said she wasn't going to, but it was her house, so she wanted to keep things organized and neat. And I must say, it was easier to tear down than it was to set up. I mean, we sold a whole bunch of stuff, so obviously, but, there's that thing, like, it's easier to pack up than to put out. So sometimes it can be easier to pack up instead of organizing things. But anyway, so yeah, we had this garage sale. I actually got a couple things for myself that were kind of cool. So I got a briefcase, partially because the messenger bag that I was using for work and everything, where the straps come onto the bag is kind of ripping and tearing and everything. So I'm either going to need to get it repaired, replaced, or something. But now I have a briefcase that I can use. And I picked up a bracelet that looks kind of cool, I think. And what was the other thing I grabbed? Oh, so those were the two things that I got before the garage sale, because we were getting things out and everything. I think there might have been something else I grabbed, but I can't remember. Yeah, I don't remember what it was. But anyway, so I grabbed those two things before the garage sale, and I figured, I'd put money in as, like, donation type thing, for those things. So I'm going to do that. But then after the garage sale, we were done, and we were just going to take everything that was left to the Salvation Army. So the ladies were saying, if you want it, then take it. So I grabbed a second briefcase because I liked both of them. But the one that I picked up before the yard sale was red, and it had combination locks on it, and I liked it a little bit better than the other one. So the other one's just black, and so it has like spots for a key to lock it, but there's no key. It's just the spots. So, and it has EW on it, which, I mean, doesn't really matter, but it was the reason. Those were the reasons why I picked the red one over the black one. But I got both of them, so it works out. I think I also picked up. So they were, I guess, the morning of. It was Saturday morning. The morning of, somebody brought in a whole bunch of electronics. I think it was one of the ladies' sons brought in a whole bunch of electronic stuff. And one of the things he brought was like a car waxer type thing. And we were selling it for like $20, and it didn't sell. And so I was like, well, that might be nice to have for my car, because, I have a nice car, and it would be nice to have for my car. So I grabbed that, and I think that was pretty much it. There might have been a couple other things I grabbed, but those were the noteworthy things. So yeah, now I have a briefcase. I've got two briefcases. I can use one or the other. Just change, interchange. I'll probably end up using the red one the most, just because I like it the most, but, now I've got a second one, in case I want to change things up. So, yeah, really nice. Really, really nice. Really thankful. And speaking of the garage sale, so one thing that I was wanting to do before I had kind of left the show to just kind of die into nothingness. It didn't die, it just was on hiatus. Obviously, I'm back. Before that, while the show was still going, I was wanting to kind of talk about some things, that God's been doing in our lives, and, like praise and stuff like that. And so with that, the garage sale, we were, I should have mentioned this earlier. We weren't just doing a garage sale just to sell a bunch of junk. We were actually doing it with the intents and purposes of raising money for our kids and our teens, youth type program stuff for the summer. So we're doing a kids club on Tuesday nights in June. We're doing a youth group Bible study night on Thursday nights. And then we're doing VBS at the end of the last week of July. Vacation Bible School last week of July. So 3 things going on, and, kids aren't cheap. If you're a parent, kids aren't cheap. I'm not a parent, and I know kids aren't cheap. So, yeah. But, so we were going to raise the money for these programs, and we were actually able to raise over $700. So, praise God for that. Like, we weren't expecting half of that. Like, one of the ladies that helped us, she was totally blown away. She was saying how she doesn't normally get that much when she garage sales. Like, totally blown away. We did a really great job, and it was really great that we had so many people come out and support what we were doing and buy some stuff to use for, whatever. So it was really, really good, and I'm really glad that we were able to do it. So then, yesterday, Sunday, my friend Ian Marples was asking me a few weeks ago if he could get a ride from me to church in exchange for lunch yesterday. And I was like, sure, totally, I could do that. So I went and picked him up, and we went to church, and, I got to hang out with him. And so he was here because he was teaching like an hour north of here for the year, and so school just got done. He was teaching a grade 6 class on a reservation. So, yeah, he just got done with that. So he's going back home to Newfoundland, and just for the summer, just to, relax for the summer, because he taught all during the school year. So he was done, and he wanted to come to church and hang out with me because he knew I was here. So we hung out, and it was really great. It was great being able to catch up with him and just talk about stuff, because nerds like to talk about nerdy things. That's part of the reason why I have this podcast, because it's fun to talk about nerdy things. I'm not talking with anyone right now, but I mean that was part of the reason why I started this podcast, was because I'm a nerd who likes talking about nerdy things. I like podcasts. I think they're great. I have a fun time doing them. So he and I talked about a lot of different things. We went out to lunch at this Hong Kong-style Chinese food restaurant that's like right next door, basically, to the church, because it's in a plaza. So we went to this place, and it was actually really good. The food was really good, and we talked about all kinds of things. We talked about superheroes, especially, I think that was the majority of our conversation at lunch. Yeah, we were talking about DC and Marvel, and I was saying that I liked Marvel better. And he was saying he liked DC better. So, but we had a good conversation, because, even though we like one over the other, you can still have a conversation. There's nothing wrong with having a conversation with someone about, superheroes, because superheroes are cool, and so yeah, we did that. We talked about the friend group at school, and all kinds of stuff. He was a he was a fourth year when I was a first year, I think was what it was. So he pretty much was done when I started, but he and I got to hang out. We watched a comedian. I can't remember the guy's name. He was an English guy. He was so funny. I died laughing when we watched that. And we watched... He got me into One Piece. He was the reason I got into One Piece, because he was like, I'm going to start watching One Piece. Does anybody want to watch with? And I was like, sure, I don't have anything going on. So started up One Piece. And yeah, it was great. So I've got some good memories of times with him. So it's good to be able to catch up and hang out. And he wanted to go to the mall after lunch, because his family currently is in Newfoundland, and so he's from Newfoundland, and he wanted to get his license changed because he's planning to come back to Manitoba and do his teaching thing up at the reservation and everything. So because he wants to keep doing that, he wants to change over his license and everything. So I guess there was a place in the mall. So we went there and we hung out there. We stopped at this shop. He was saying that last time he was there, it was an HMV, and now it's like an HMV, although there's more emphasis on the music and the movies and a lot less on the apparel and nerdy things. I mean, there were some things. There were definitely some things. Deadpool and Game of Thrones and everything. Harry Potter. So there was a lot of cool things in that shop. And it was cool to stop in. He actually got something like a banner or something there while we were there. So it was cool. It was a cool little place. And then I didn't want to necessarily, just stop hanging out. So I was thinking, well, there's a comic shop I've been meaning to go to. He was like, well, see if it's open. I was like, well, it's only open for another half an hour. He was like, well, whatever you want to do. And I was like, I'll at least check it out, because I haven't even checked it out yet. I don't know nothing about this place. So it was only like 10 minutes away. So we drive over there, and it's basically probably a little bit smaller than the place that I go to in New York, but they had a lot more comics. And that made the difference, because the place I go to in New York has a lot more, like, the physical, like, nerdy things, like, the pop figures and stuff like that. And a lot less comics. So you can either get, like, the really new comics or the really old comics. But at this comic shop here, they had a lot more of the in-between, so I was actually able to get some of the comics that I've been looking for. So I didn't go too crazy. I only got 14. And I know for someone who doesn't read comics, and maybe even some people who do read comics, that sounds like a huge amount of comics. But hear me out. I got the first 5... Wait, no. Not the first 5. There were only 5, I think. So I got the 5 Han Solo comics, because I collect the Star Wars comics, the new ones from after 2015, because they're canon. So of course I'm going to pick those up and read them, because I want to know everything in the Star Wars universe. I pick up comic books and everything that I can get my hands on, because I want to be able to be one of those people that says, "Ha, I know why that happens. I know why this goes to this goes to this." So I get the comics. So I got the 5 Han Solo comics for, I think, like $20, and then I got the 6 Doctor. Wait, no, it was cheaper than 20. I can't remember, but it was on sale, basically. And then I got the Dr. Aphra, the first 6 of those, on sale. And then I got the first 3 Darth Maul comics just by themselves, because they actually had the 5 and the 6, the Han Solo and Dr. Aphra comics were in bundles, so they were on sale, and then the Darth Maul comics were just loose. So, but I was able to get some comics that I really wanted. I decided I wasn't going to read the Dr. Aphra comics just because. So, Dr. Aphra is one of the characters that shows up in the Darth Vader comics. Now, I have most of the Darth Vader comics, but I think I left off around issue 20. And just after I came here, I had a code, like a birthday code for Midtown Comics, for a discount for comics. So I got some of the Darth Vader comics sent home through that. So I have them. I just haven't read them yet, and I want to make sure there's continuity, kind of thing, like, for me, because it's like I can't play the second game without playing the first game first, kind of thing. I can't watch the second movie without watching the first one. So it's like that. I don't want to read Dr. Aphra without finding out first what happens to her in the Darth Vader comics. So I'm not touching them. I think she's also in this, like, the Star Wars, like they have just Star Wars comics. So yeah, I've got to get caught up first before reading those, but I have them now, so that's good. I couldn't find some of them on Midtown. Some of them just weren't there, so now I have them, so I'm happy for that. And yeah, went to the comic book store. It was really good. It was really nice. Finally was able to read some comics. I actually did that last night, and this morning I read the Darth Maul comics last night, and they were really good. And then I read the Han Solo comics this morning, and they were really good. I was surprised what they did with the Han Solo comics. So I don't know what it is, but it seems like they're just making comics just to kind of give these, like, little short stories that don't really have anything to do with anything. Some of them do. Some of them do have some good details. Like the C-3PO comic that they came out with was really great because it takes place in between episode 6 and 7, and it explains where his red arm comes from in episode 7. So that was a really good comic. But then, like, this Han Solo comic was basically... I mean, I guess it does help, but in a very subtle way. So it takes place in between episodes 4 and 5. Right, yeah, 4 and 5. And it was basically just Han Solo picking up these... they were, like, informants for the rebellion. They needed to be picked up, rendezvous, type stuff. And so it just kind of shows how Han goes from the smuggling life into more of the rebellion life kind of thing. Because I guess, like, after episode 4, he wanted to kind of go back to the smuggling life. But he really couldn't, just because of what he had been through in episode 4, I suppose. So he had changed through that, and it was just kind of showing how he had changed and how he just fit more in the rebellion. So, which actually kind of begs the question, how was he able to go back to it in between 6 and 7 then? So, that's interesting. Yeah. So, really good comics. I really enjoyed them, and I need to get more. Yeah, I really like comic books, and I really like collecting them, and I really like reading them. So, yeah, I might have to read them a little less, maybe, or something. I don't know. I mean, I hadn't gotten any in a year. I think it was last May was the last time I got any comic books. So it was nice to be able to get some comic books and actually physically hold them. Because I got some comic books in May, but they were sent to my house. So I don't actually have them. So I haven't even read them yet. But, yeah. Should be good. So this is the thing that I wanted to talk about that I forgot to last week because of E3. So maybe more than a couple weeks ago, it's kind of been on my mind and on my heart for a while. I would really like to write a book. So, okay. I've been wanting to write a book forever. Like, I have been writing forever. I wrote books in elementary school, middle school, high school. I have been working on books forever. But I want to actually write this one, write it in full, and actually try to publish it. So, basically, what I'm thinking about and what I'm working on with this book is a devotional for gamers. So, I looked to see if there's anything online to see if anybody had already done something like this, and it looks like there's a website that a gamer could go to for stuff like this, but it's a website, it isn't a book. And then I found on Amazon there was this book that had something to do with gamers, and it was a devotional, but it sounded like it was coming from someone who was not a gamer themselves. So it's my idea, like, it would be better for someone who is a gamer to write this for gamers kind of thing. So that's one of the other projects that I'm probably going to be working on Mondays, because Mondays are my day off. And I want to do things that I enjoy and things that really fulfill me and, refill me, but I suppose also kind of fulfill me. Fulfill me works there too. Because that's part of my ministry, I suppose, like it's something I really want to do. So that's something I'm going to try working on. So if anyone is listening and has any kind of suggestions, please contact me. in some way, because I would love to hear your suggestions and I would love to look into them. I've got to try to do research first, and then I can actually start writing. So yeah, that's one thing that I'm wanting to try to do. And then next week, this next week I'm going to try to find someone else to talk to. I actually might have someone, because my friend Josh is going to be here for his staff is coming to Winnipeg for their retreat kind of thing for the summer, kind of like a staff retreat type thing. So, he told me, hey, I'm going to be around close to the end of June, when can I, would I be able to see you kind of thing. So it's neat, because I hung out with Ian this weekend. I'll get to hang out with Josh next weekend. So yeah, I get to see a lot of friends. So maybe I could have Josh on the show. Maybe. We'll see, Or I might be able to get someone else on, either via Skype or something. So yeah, so that's just about all I have for today that I wanted to talk about. I'll just give a quick thanks to everybody who has listened thus far in this episode and in all the other episodes. Thank you so much for listening. This week I'm going to change things up a little bit. Well, starting this week I'm going to change things up a little bit. I have been thinking about this for a while, and I'm going to start it this week. So what I'm going to do at the end of each episode from now on is I'm going to start asking a question, and that way we can get people talking on the social media and everything. So if you're listening right now, please get on your phone, get on your computer, go to Facebook, and find the CNBCS podcast page, or go on Twitter and find the page. And on the Facebook page, you'll find where I've posted today's episode. Just click the reply button and write a reply for this question. And if you're on Twitter, just tweet back at the podcast page. And I promise, if you answer today's question, then I will bring it up next week, who responded, what they said, and that way we can have some conversation going. I really, really want to know who's listening, get us going with this conversation. Get us going with the conversation, So for this week, I just want to know what people do during the summer to stay nerdy. Do you play video games all summer? Do you read books all summer? I did that one summer, actually. I was working the night shift, and I didn't really have anything else to do, so I read books all night. So I read 10 books that summer. So yeah, do you read books? Do you I don't know, watch movies all the time, watch TV shows all the time? Speaking of TV shows, actually, well, no, I don't really have time for that. I'll just finish up. So yeah, what do you do that is nerdy during the summer? Please post, reply, tweet, something. Get the conversation going between us. As I wrap up, I'm just gonna say again that this podcast is an original project. It doesn't come from anything or anyone other than me. It's an independent project, just coming from me and some of the other students from Kingswood as we finish our education and work to become leaders in the church. Next week, I'll have another topic, hopefully someone to hang out with, and all that other fun stuff. Until then, I'm Luc Reed, and this has been CNBCS. Stay nerdy, dive into the Word, and have a blessed week. Thank you.